Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Gamers Grind podcast. How is everybody doing today?
I'm here.
You're here?
I'm here.
Yes, you are.
Conte might be dying.
I'm mad.
Mad? Why?
The moment we started, the dog started barking, and I was like, I probably got to stay muted.
Oh my gosh. Well, no worries. If the little dog wants to bark, let him do his thing. But I want to know how are you guys today? How are you guys today?
It's been a week. It's been pretty good for me so far. I'm not gonna lie.
It hasn't been a bad week at all. I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been busy, but it's like not bad. Like it's like a weird kind of I don't know what to call it, but like it hasn't been a bad week.
Yeah.
We have missed a couple weeks, about 2 weeks. We kind of took a little bit of a break from the podcast. Much needed break, much needed opportunities to rest, relax, collect our thoughts. But now we're back, baby. We're back and we're ready. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
This
sir.
was strategic. It was strategic by you, so we couldn't talk about Sonic for 2 hours.
Facts. Those of you guys tuning in, welcome back to the Gamers Grind podcast. It's been a minute since we all came together. All came together to talk about what we love, gaming. Something new for the podcast is we now have a Twitter page. It is twitter.com/GamersGrindShow or at GamersGrindShow. There we're gonna be there. I'm pretty bad at it, but I gotta get better at posting there. But basically, we're gonna use that to post any updates in regards to the show, whether it's video uploads or if it's when we go live or anything regarding the Gamers Grind podcast. So that is going to be the number one source to go. I'll still be talking about it on my personal Twitter page at ChocoTacoFGC, but the Gamers Grind Show is the place to be. This is if you want to stay up to date. So one of the things about the Gamers Grind that I've always believed is always been like what I love about it is one, it's our love for gaming. We're always talking about the best parts about gaming. We're always talking about what we love, what made us happy about gaming, but we never really talk about the bad. We never really talk about the ugly. We're always talking about we know that Kendall and Kawante, you guys love Mario and Sonic. You guys are very big fans. You guys know that I'm huge. For lack of a better word, I'm a huge cuck for Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, JRPGs. Word. You know what? I couldn't think of the word, but that was it. That was the one that came to mind. But let's talk about some bad games. Let's talk about some games that are bad, or at least to the general public. What are some bad games? What are some bad games to us, at least?
I'll start because I'm mad.
You're mad.
Go ahead and start. It was my idea in the first place, so go ahead.
So basically, about maybe I don't know, when Sonic Forces came out, I told I given up hope on the series, so I didn't really play the game. And Quante was just like, this game is so garbage. I want everyone to experience how bad it is. That's one of the few games that realistically, I will say fundamentally as a whole, play, story, even music, and that's hard for Sega to really mess up music. It's not stellar. I was just disappointed. Sonic Forces is a big disappointment. It's one of the biggest disappointments I've ever played in my entire life. It's a mess. It makes me think it's I speak with James or Mule, about that, and he's just like, and it's just like he's like, Sonic 06, that's a good game, and I've been listening to him say Sonic 06 is a good game for years. But after I played Forces, it made me start to think maybe Sonic 06 wasn't that bad,
Shut
and it
up.
wasn't. No. James proved some valuable points.
No,
At least there is.
I need you to be quiet. I really,
Lower my voice.
Oh no.
I need you to be
Lower
quiet
my voice.
about that
The
right
truth.
now. The truth.
that
That game ruined the whole course of the series. You can't just say it wasn't that bad just because one of the
Yeah.
games is boring. I mean,
I wouldn't
straight
say it was-
up,
no,
Sonic
it's not
Forces
boring.
is a hot steaming piece of garbage. If I
It's
had to
so
experience that, everybody else did. But I just want people to feel my pain. This is Naruto Shippuden now, and I blew up the Leaf Village. I made everybody play Sonic Forces.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I remember If
I
I were-
almighty pushed everybody.
if I remember correctly, if you guys haven't followed if you haven't followed the Black Eye Gamer, please follow him on Twitch. But I remember vividly watching him play Sonic Forces and beat the game in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that was the most entertaining 2 hours of my life.
I hated it. I hated it. They literally it got to a point where it's just like there was one level that was just like the game just decided to be like, all right, okay, we're gonna ramp up the difficulty. It's like they didn't play test it. They didn't play test it. They were wishing on a moon and a star for Mania because they were just decided to shoehorn Mania elements in there, which didn't really work. It just seemed like it's like they really pushed that game back. Were lazy as heck and expected progress, and nothing happened. And it was just a disappointment. The whole thing was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it here. And like, and it's like I know we talk about Sonic and Mario all the time. It's very hard for me to think about like really, really difficult bad games. But fundamentally speaking, like Sonic Forces is just poorly executed. Poorly
It's
executed
it's
gameplay.
boring. That's the biggest part of it. I think the worst thing.
I
a
wouldn't
game
even
can
care if
be-
it's boring.
Well, no, like you said that you don't think they play tested it. I think they play tested it, but it's just a boring game. Like I think
Have you,
it is.
did you play?
there's one thing. Okay, if you brought up Sonic 06, Sonic 06 is a bad game, like just terrible. Sonic Forces is a boring game. I think which of those two is worse, if it's bad or if it's boring, and I think boring is worse. Because if your game is boring, then who's gonna want to go through to the end?
That is
At
a
least
valid
in
point.
Sonic 06, you got the fun glitches. The music's still good. The game kind of looks like boo boo, but I mean, you can play it all the way through. So I think that fundamentally speaking, Sonic Forces is just a boring, mediocre pile of garbage,
Damn.
and that's what makes it bad
Damn.
in that sense. I don't know.
It's very mediocre because the game promises change. The game promises changing
didn't
elements
promise
that
anything.
realistically.
It basically right off the bat said,
franchise.
"I am Sonic Generations 2," and that's what we got, but worse.
So it's a disappointment, man. I would have rather them actually just literally make an entire not even make an entire franchise or like a Sonic Generation 2 from scratch, but realistically it's just more so the fact that just you got Sega realistically isn't a fucking a really fantastic developing scene. You know what I mean? There's
Mhm.
not really that much that the company has going for it aside from Yakuza and Sonic.
Well, they got
Those are the only-
Yakuza, they got Fantasy Star now, Sakura Wars, I think. They got some stuff. They just don't have Sonic anymore. Sonic's dead, in my eyes, anyway.
Damn.
it's going to die.
Sonic
Maybe.
is dead. He has been dead for more than 10 years.
That hurts. That hurts.
Since 2006.
God.
He died on that day.
Oh my gosh.
But what is a bad game that you know is bad, but you still enjoy anyway, despite it not being, within the
That's a fat opinion. You know that. You know it.
Yeah,
Conte.
that's why I asked you.
That's-
So what game
No.
do you like that other people don't like? Because I know you have an answer.
I do have an answer, but I hate you for I hate you. Okay, I really do.
That was important. He got to spit.
There are two games that I fundamentally loved to death because of the way how it's designed and all the other garbage like that. Like, let's just say, for instance, like Skyward Sword. Okay, everyone, every Zelda player or everybody that's the fan of the Legend of Zelda series can harp on the fact that it's just bad. It has terrible pacing. The Land of the Sky has absolutely nothing going for it. We got character development that just stops halfway through. Groose and a bunch of other garbage like that that people can just complain on and on and on about. You know what I mean? And mainly, the one thing that turns people away or gets people pissed off is the motion controls. Now, let me just start by saying this. I completely understand if we want to be fat and lazy and just press buttons to play your Zelda game traditionally. I can respect that wholeheartedly. I'm pretty sure that eventually there's going to be a Skyward Sword remake that'll allow you to either have the options to press buttons or use the Joy-Cons.
Mm-hmm.
However, though, I think that game was very revolutionary, story-driven, and fantastic to actually bring forward the actual essence of the series. Like, it's a fantastic game. If you want to get mad and sad and angry over the lackluster, like, you know, not level design, but like the lackluster, like pacing and the overworld, the overworld. Everyone was pissed off about the overworld. Like, the overworld is ass. I hate it. It's so bad and ugly and and that's all you need. Just that garbage. Everyone just talks about the overworld. Everyone talks about the first level. You gotta go back to the first level to go to the second level. You gotta use the time crystal stones, these stupid gimmicks. I hate it. But you got Majora's Mask, right? Majora's Mask circles around one whole gimmick, and people critically claim that game till their eyes turn freaking green, dude. I hate it. I despise every moment of that. And you know, I completely understand that. Yes, motion controls, and also what else? And also the way how the game paced itself, just extremely poor. But Jesus Christ, the story is what carried the game.
Yes, I
carried the game. Motion controls was fantastic. If you had the correct, if you had the not the little piece that you put at the bottom of your Wiimote, the actual controller, it was built-in sensor.
Yes, the Motion Plus.
I thought you had to play it with Wii Motion Plus.
You had the Wii Motion Plus, yeah.
You couldn't play it without it.
So, like,
no, you can't.
If you had the little, there's already the little attachment that goes on it, but that was not the best calibrated thing. But there were controllers built. But there were controllers built in with the Wii Motion Plus, and those worked wonders. The Wii Motion Plus was actually like, it was a really good product, especially for that game, because like it made the motion controls feel good. But I think if you had like the older versions of the Wii Motion Plus, that did not work, bro. Those did not work, and for that game, you had to be good with your motions. You had to be fluid with them. If you weren't fluid, it was literally going to be trash. I will agree. Skyward Sword, it's a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure of a game for me. I like that game. I like that game a lot. I like what they did with the story. I love the concept that they went with going forward when it came to, you know, Skyloft and everything. I love the characters. I think the characters are all have a lot of personality, and even like minor characters get some kind of shine. Bro, the Groose is loose. The Groose is loose.
You can't even say Groose is not a main character. You can't. You can't say Groose is not a main character because it's
not a main character.
Groose is a main character, okay?
What does Groose do besides that one boss fight?
He does multiple boss fights. He saved Zelda from literally dying.
What did he get for it?
Well, his own piece in the kingdom. What do you mean? The three of them were by the Triforce. All three of them. You can't just say no. Like that.
Demise came in. Like, Demise is the other piece of the Triforce.
No, when they beat Demise, when Link beat Demise, they were standing in front of the Triforce at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that to go back on something that you said earlier, You
And I'm
said
just gonna
that
say that I wanted to point that out. Go ahead. I'll talk about that later. But go ahead.
you're talking about people being fat and not or not liking the motion controls, but I don't think that game would be what it is without the motion controls.
Mhm.
Like if you take the motion controls out of Skyward Sword, it's not Skyward Sword anymore. Like
Well,
that is
yes, I completely understand.
so
It becomes a
I
completely different
I don't
game.
really think they would do that because it's built around that, like with that in mind. So especially since the Switch has like gyro, I don't think it would work nearly as well as Wii Motion Plus. I mean, that's just me because gyro kind of works a little differently, but I think they would need to keep it in. And I do think that was an authentic experience. Like no other Zelda game even attempted to do it after that point. Like Breath of the Wild didn't use it, even
Mhm.
though that was a. I thought the combat in Skyward Sword was great. That was the best part of that game, just learning how to fight different enemies. And then I forget what that boss was, but it's the one where you have to use the whip and steal the swords.
It's a 6-hour golden gauntlet boss in whatchamacallit, it's the Temple of Time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
That's the best boss. That's the best
Yeah.
boss in the game.
And then every fight with Girahim was amazing as well, just because I don't know, it feels like you're actually sword fighting. Like that was the most fun part of that game. It puts you in Link's shoes, and then it's like, oh man, I'm Link, and I'm doing this on my screen, but it still feels fun. So
A lot of people were turned. The only reason why people were saying that was that a lot of people were like turned away from it.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't
feel
know.
like
that was the best part of the game.
I think something like the whole aspect of having to beat, trying to do all the sword fighting, like it's very important. I think it's what makes the game so unique. But people who just want to pop in the game and just play a game, they don't want to do all that. They don't want to do all that. They just want to sit down and they just want to press buttons. And like it's not a problem. That's how you play the game. Like that's a fine way to play the game. But like I could see it getting a little bit frustrating for like older, more experienced Zelda players who were so used to just, hey, I'm just gonna press B, I'm gonna hold R, press B, call it a day, baby. That's a good amount of time on some Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is definitely a game that a lot of people thought it was pretty bad, but there's something special about it still. But I want to know, what about you? What about you, Quante? You were so insistent on getting Kendall, the black guy gamer, to say what is his bad game. So I want to know, what is a bad game to you, and what is a bad game that most people think that it's bad, or most people like widely agree that it's a bad game, but you just enjoy, you love.
Well, for me, I don't feel like I could talk very much about this game, so I wanted to flip the script on the question to make it more interesting.
Got you.
But if I was to give a definite answer, it would be Sonic the Fighters, because that game is garbage. It is a garbage 3D fighter with Sonic characters in it, but I love it because you can do really dumb stuff in it. And I just play as like Amy and throw hammers from across the screen, and it's fun. Or I play as Tails and grab, and then suddenly half of their health is gone.
Half their health is gone.
Good fighter, but just to make it more interesting, because I don't really have like a legitimate answer, because I can't think of like a game that I legitimately enjoy that like other people just hate without really having to think about it. Because I was gonna say Paper Mario: The Origami King.
Really?
People actually, yeah, but people like that game like a lot. Like it's not really as divisive as, let's say, Color Splash or Sticker Star. So I didn't like. I don't really like those games a whole lot, so I didn't want to really bring them into the question. But I was gonna say a good game that everybody loves that I'm not in love with, just to sort of flip the question on its head,
Oh wow.
is Super Mario Galaxy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I hate
crazy.
him.
That's crazy.
Everybody like goes super crazy over Galaxy, and I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game, and I'm not saying that I don't like Galaxy. I love Galaxy, but I don't think that it's like, I've heard people go as far as to say that Galaxy is the best Mario game that has been made ever, and I do not agree with that whatsoever. Like, not even in like, if we were just strictly talking about 3D Mario games, I don't think it comes close to being number one.
Mm-hmm.
But
feel
I mean,
that.
I get like how revolutionary it was at the time that it came out because it had gravity and nothing like, well, I'm not going to say nothing like that had been done at the time, but it did it the best for sure. And it did a lot of really unique stuff, but I just don't think that it's that great
Hmm.
or as great as people say it is. And I think the thing that it lacks for me is movement. Like I feel like other Mario games have a more, they just have better movement. Don't make that face at me.
It's not
Because you're
wrong.
stupid.
No, I have way more fun. I play Super Mario 64. You don't like that game, so I hate you. You tried to.
Oh, you don't like that game. I said the game. I said it's like if I'm gonna play Mario 64, I gotta play it for a long period of time so I can get used to controls. Since I'm not 8 million years old,
Well,
8
I'm 8
million
million
year old
years
man.
old, then I guess, because that game controls like, it's great.
Oh my god.
It's got great controls. I don't care what you say. Sunshine too. I'm not the biggest fan of Sunshine either, but I think it controls better than Galaxy does.
I think
Or I have more fun. Let me rephrase that. I have more fun controlling Sunshine than I do Galaxy.
because they give you so many more movement options in Sunshine. I think where I can agree about the movement is I don't like how the spin it like stalls you. It like stalls you. So like if you're trying to move, if you're just trying to like move fast and you're just trying to move fast, it kind of having to incorporate the spin really actually like it halts the momentum you keep, like the momentum you're trying to like have, and like they fixed that problem in Galaxy with Cappy because they made it because they made like if you want to do like a double jump with Cappy, you had to like throw the cap, then dive to the cap, then bounce off them, then dive. So like, you're at least keeping your momentum. You're not giving up on them. You're not like slowing down at any point. So that's what I like about it. And they made sure to like really hone in on that movement. 64, that is movement unbound, like unbinded by. There are no shackles on that game. You can do whatever you do whatever you want. And in Sunshine, it says you can almost do whatever you want. It's just no long jump, but you had to dive instead.
You don't really need it. I think Sunshine has a learning curve because I've heard that argument actually. I've like gone on Twitter a lot and I've seen people say that the lack of a long jump in Sunshine makes it worse. But I don't agree with that because you have the dive and the dive essentially functions the same way, and you can like chain all the moves into each other. That's what I like about those games compared to the Galaxy games, is because even with your existing move set, all of it is heavily nerfed compared to what you have in the other games. So if I wanted to do a side jump, it feels kind of stilted and slow. Versus if I do it in Sunshine, I can do like a side jump and then just immediately like dive, and that's basically like your long jump. Or I can spin jump and then like you can just do anything. So the freeform gameplay that you have in the other games feels much better to play to me than Galaxy does. It's not to say that Galaxy doesn't have good level design or good music or anything like that, because it definitely does. I just it doesn't feel as fun to play as, let's say, Odyssey. Like I think Odyssey is the best 3D Mario game, me personally, but that's just the level of movement that you have, everything that you can do in that game, it's just perfect.
I feel that. I definitely feel that. Oof! It's finally time. I've been thinking about this question for some time because I'm really thinking about what I wanted to say while you guys were going on your rants. But for a game that I think is terrible, I can't stand the thought of that game. It is Final Fantasy 15. I despise Final Fantasy 15. Keep in mind, I said it earlier, I am literally a Square Enix cuck. I love JRPGs. I love Square Enix. I love Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. I love all of that. But that game has hurt me. My soul, I will never recover from that game. And it isn't that... And the problem is the story. The story pisses me off. It upsets me. Because imagine you're in a world, you have set this huge lore that at the beginning of the game, you're like, your father is dead, the kingdom's overrun, and now you are on a quest. You must meet your betrothed and reclaim the throne. That was the premise. That was the premise. It was hype. They did all this stuff. They made an anime. They made a movie. They made a Mercedes-Benz car to promote the game. This is supposed to be the most exciting thing to ever come out. And then you kind of go through the game. They kind of establish, oh, there's this like round table of people, these generals, these people that are, you're like, these guys are gonna be the main bad guys, stuff like that.
Who?
So after the first,
no, I gotta do like Snoops for a second. Who?
Oh, who? Who?
I don't even know who you're talking about. I only know about Arden. And who else is bad in that game?
At the beginning of the game, remember, you fight the first boss. It's the dude in the mech. The first dude you find in the mech, you kind of beat him. Then you find it cuts to a scene where it's the chancellor from the group of people, the empire that invaded the Crown City, and it's literally a round table of people. There's a couple characters, main important characters are Aranea and Ravis there, but it's like 7 or 8 people. There's like, go after King Noctis, find him and kill him. Those are the people pursuing you throughout the game. You don't meet any of those. You don't meet any of them. You don't meet any of them. You don't fight them. They disappear. They literally disappear after the beginning of the game. Except for the 2 people I said. Because they have some kind of problem. They have some problem with it. No. But Aranea ends up like, hey, I'm evil, but I'm not kind of evil. So I'm cool with you after I fight you once. And then Ravis, he's like one of the big bads. He's one of the big bads. Okay, cool character. Brother of your betrothed. Evil. What are we going to do with them? We're going to make him disappear till the end of the game. I'm not going to spoil what happens because I don't know if people have played the game. If you guys think about playing the game, don't. If you do want to play the game, buy the Royal Edition. I'll get into that in a second. But he disappears. And then you fight him later on again. And it's like, that's it. And I think, there's a lot to do in the game. I will say there was a lot to explore. I think the most egregious thing the game could have ever done, and egregious, evil, was what they did with DLC. DLC should never be DLC for any game you play. Doesn't matter the game you play. You should not have to buy DLC to understand the full experience. DLC should be add-on content that doesn't take away from your experience, whether you get it or not. It should only enhance. Multiple points within the story, which I'm not going to go too much in detail, because there's a lot of points. You have your party members, the main 4 dudes. You got Noctis, Ignis, Prompto, and Gladiolus. All of these 4 dudes are your brothers. They're your boys. But every once in a while, like the 3rd boss, Gladiolus disappears. You get like chapter 9, and all your boys disappear. Then you hit like chapter 12, and Prompto disappears. And then they come back out at random points in the game. One of them comes back actually crippled.
My eyes.
One of them comes back after disappearing for whatever reason they said. He comes back without his eyes. And we're just like, bro, what happened? Where did it all go wrong? And they said, and you know what they tell us? You know what they look at? The Square Enix, the people that I love so much, look me in the eye and tell me, buy the DLC. They put important plot points in the DLC. And so,
Crazy.
and on top of that, I played the game when it came out. The first DLC came out like 6 months. No, actually no. The first DLC I think came like very shortly after the game. The next DLC took like 8 months to come out, dude. So that was one of like the last straws for me. I'm just like, no, I can't do it. On top of that, the plot is super sloppy. Super sloppy. It doesn't hit the right notes. It doesn't do it.
It's not finished.
It's not finished.
That's the problem. And that's why, for one, you touched on this in the beginning, but you said that you're like, there's an anime, there's a Mercedes-Benz, there's this, and there's a movie. And that's the problem, is that you have to consume so much media before even playing the game in the first place.
That is true.
To even know the story setup, I have to do all this extra stuff just to even know what's going on in the game itself. And then after I beat the game, I still don't know what's going on because it's not even finished.
on top of that,
DLC.
Oh my god!
It's not, and it never really concluded. They gave up on it. Like, that game was doomed to fail from the moment. Well, I'm not gonna say from its inception because it looked cool when it was like when they showed it as what was it, Versus 13, where they had that really cool trailer at E3 where Noctis was going through the building and everything was flooding. He was teleporting all over the place. That looked cool. And then whatever happened for that duration of when they changed it to Final Fantasy 15, and that Versus 13 got vaporized into oblivion, and we never know what happened to it again. That was the version of 15 people wanted. What we got was something. I feel like that was a product of like development hell.
Yes,
and something happened.
That is definitely the product of development hell. I will say for sure, because at the end of the day, Versus 13, its concept came out like in 2006. The concept for Versus 13 came out so long ago, and what it was shaping up to be was to be a much different, like a very different story, a lore that was very different. Like, I guess one of the main things of the lore was that of like the original concept was that who he was supposed to marry in the final game, it was somebody he was fated to battle. It was like it was etched in fate, bro. You were like, they were fated to battle no matter what. They could not avoid it. That was like one of the main premises, and it was hype. It was crazy. Then development hell. It's a mix of development hell and like switching of producers. I could go so in depth on this. I could write a thesis as to why I hate this game. I can write a thesis about it. That game is an example of a company saying, hey, we made something that looks appealing to you guys, so let's do whatever we can to make money, and while foregoing all the effort, going all the effort. The game doesn't even look that pretty to begin with. The game, there's a lot of it needed a lot of.
All right.
Hey, I mean, frame rates, and all this other stuff. Don't worry. The game graphics look nice. Relax.
That game, that doesn't look like a bad game. I was impressed by it when I first played it.
It's nice.
It was fine.
It did not run well for me. My vacuum of a PS4, you know, it's been chugging for a long time, but around that time, it was still pretty young, and it was struggling to play. It was struggling to play Final Fantasy 15. I'm like, what's going on, man? Come on.
I hated the combat. That's what makes me mad thinking about it. Not even just the story. You've gone on about the story the whole time. That battle system was doo-doo butter. I hate it. You just mash buttons, or mash one button, and then the thing that really got me was I tried to use, I don't know, it was I got magic, and I was like, yeah, I haven't used magic the whole game, and I think it was like Firaga or something, like something big, and Prompto just exploded when I used it. He just died.
That's your party member. Why did he get hit?
Yeah, I can hit my party members with my magic, and I was like, oh no. I was like, I can't do anything. Like any sort of strategy that I had is gone now because I have to be like, oh, my dude over there is gonna get vaporized if I use this move, and this big monster is like chasing me everywhere. I can't do anything, and I did not like that game. Well, I liked it when I first played it because it was like I was still sort of branching out into other genres, so I didn't really know too much of like what a game like that could be at the time. So it was a nice first experience, but looking back, that game was not that great.
that game is the body I've lost. It is like a I waited so patiently. I was mind you, this is Choco on like a Saturday morning with like at work with the mom when I was a young kid on like the one computer that we could say, hey, go on my computer and just do stuff. And this is me going on old YouTube trying to find anything. You would look like you would search up like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it would be like an AMV of like the Advent Children movie, and I'm just like, bro, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake, bro, it's there, dude. So this is me finding out about that game, following it, seeing it get canceled, then get rebooted in 2013. I watched that E3 and I screamed, bro. I screamed. My mother and my grandmother ran into the room and said, "What's going on?" I said, "It's happening." It's happening. I wanted that game so much, and it ruined me. It ruined me. So at the end of the day, for a bad game, Final Fantasy 15, that is a bad game. You know, there's some things that are good about it. There's some things that I will say, because I think every game has things. I think even if it's a bad game, I think there's always things that you can like about it. Like, I think that the game having so much to do is good. I think if you took away the story, took away all that lore and stuff like that, it's a game with you and your boys. It's you and the boys. You're just riding around in the wilderness in your Mercedes Benz, bro. And it's kind of strange because you're not supposed to be in the desert with a Mercedes, but you know what? They're in there. They're deep in that desert. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Actually, hold on before you go. If we were just going to be talking about bad games, not games that we like that are bad, but just bad games, I have one.
Oh.
And I feel like you might know what I'm going to say. But Persona 4.
I've never played it. I've never played it.
It's okay. It's okay. This one is just more so. I think Quante is just mad.
Why am I mad?
I think it's just because remember that time period, like in high school, all Skid Flash talked about was fucking Persona, and then like the Persona 4 Golden anime and Persona 4 Golden, like all the time. This kid we had in the group, I love Dawn, but there was a time period where all he did, think, and breathe was Persona. So he would always tell us, hey, Quante, you should play the Persona 4 Golden Remake. And Quante was like, no, I'm not going to play that game. It looks boring. And then he just didn't stop. He just kept asking him to keep saying, you should play this game.
It went on for years.
It went on for years. Even it's like, if you won't play the game, watch the anime. Quante's like, no, I don't want to watch the anime. It got so profusively annoying that I watched the anime, and I was like, wait, this is actually okay. And then I said, I'll play Persona 3. I played Persona 3. That game was okay. I liked it. And then I played Persona 4 halfway through, and I was like, The remake is better, though. I watched a lot of play it and do the remake. But man, dude, like I have a feeling that whenever Quante talks about Persona, it's deeply rooted in the fact that just our friend just kept bombarding him about it.
Well, I did play it. Like finally, I got the I had a PlayStation TV, which is weird to think about because I don't know anybody that had one of those. I like that face you made. You're probably like, "What is a PlayStation
no,
TV?"
a PS TV. Like the thing is that like that was them saying, "Wow, the PlayStation Vita absolutely failed. We need to do something. It is code red out here. Make a PlayStation TV." And it still failed. Nobody bought one.
I don't
My
even
roommate
remember.
bought one.
I don't know the circumstances of why I bought one or where it even is right now. I just had one, and I was like, I think I bought it to play Danganronpa actually,
Okay.
because I wanted to play those games on my TV, and so I could play Danganronpa 2 in English. Because I think I played the first one in Japanese before, but then I was at a tournament actually in a different town, and it was at like this retro game store, and they just had Persona 4 Golden, and it was like dirt cheap. It was like $5 or $10.
Yeah, sir,
And I
for the
was
cheap,
like,
baby.
yeah, I was like, well, I guess it's that time, and I bought it
Time.
and I played it, and it wasn't bad. But then I feel like Persona 4 was one of those cases where I liked it when I played it, and then I played the other games, and I was like, wow, that game sucks. After I had played the other ones.
Oh no.
I played 3, and I was like, wow, I like the characters and everything going on here a lot better. And then, like, because I played them all in a row, so I played 4, and then I think I went back and played 3 and even 2, and that's a dirt old game for like PS1.
That is an old game. That is a
Yeah, but I like Persona 2 more than I like Persona 4. And that game has like an encounter rate out the wazoo, but I don't care. I like the story and everything in that game. But then I just go look at Persona 4 and I hear Chie's voice, and I'm like, all right, it's time to leave forever. And never come back. I hear Teddy's voice, and I'm just like, it's time to leave forever and never come back. And I'm just,
no.
I hate it.
They didn't do anything.
No, everything is so loud. Like I played that game, and I'm like, do I need to turn down my TV? The TV's on like 1, and I'm just these characters are like screaming, and I'm like, chill out. Like, I just want to play a video game. I'm in my room, and I like go in the hallway. You can hear Chie speaking. I'm just like, be quiet, please. Like
Loud.
everybody's so loud in that game and obnoxious. I don't like Persona 4 is it's not for me.
I can feel that.
It's okay, dude. I'm not gonna give you shit for not liking Persona 3. It's okay.
I love Persona
Or
3.
4.
Yeah, Persona 4.
Well, that's because that game was like overly voice acted, and it could have been its own story, its own thematic anime. But instead, we want to be stupid. But it's okay, dude. I completely understand. Like, I'm not really gonna give you crap for it, because like it's deeply rooted in you getting pessimistically fucking abused by Dawn, and then you finally
objectively
crack.
it's good. Like objectively it's great even. Like the gameplay's solid. Everything, like the music is good, but I still hate it. It's
Yeah, I mean, there are games like that where like there's just aspects about them that are just great. They're still good. I can't just call it trash, but like you just don't. It doesn't jive with you. It doesn't jive with you at all. All in all, like bad games are like they're always a fun point of contention throughout gaming, because like everybody's idea of a bad game can be like it's just so different. It's so different, but even through all of those bad games, like you can still find some value out of that game. Except Sonic Forces, that game is actually just bad. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I watched them. You know what? I'm pretty sure that I'll find the beauty in it. I'm pretty sure I will find the beauty in it if I ever played it. But I will not pay a dime. Not even if I'll hesitate if it's free.
the character creation. That's like
no thanks.
I mean, it's not good.
Cursed.
But I mean, if you want to see one good thing in that game, and that's in air quotes good, it would be the character creator, and that's pretty much it. That
is a rabbit hole. I'm not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole. But Nah, that game. Nah. But anyways,
Garbage.
we talked a good amount about some bad games, stuff like that. Let's go back to let's shift back into a little bit of the good. Let's shift back into the games that have held up over the years. This year, 2021 is kind of special. There are a lot of games who have big anniversaries to like celebrate their beauty, celebrate like everything they're all about. Three of the franchises that come to mind. Metroid, The Legend of Zelda, and Sonic. Those three franchises. This year he's not dead. He's coming back hard. All right.
Are you sure? Is he? How is he gonna come back?
Hey, hold on. Listen, bro. The anniversary is gonna hit. The anniversaries are gonna hit. But I bring this up because I want to know what are our thoughts? What are our thoughts on video game anniversaries? Do we love them? Do we hate them? What's going on?
So I think that, I guess, as far as predictions go, Metroid's not gonna get anything.
Oh, thanks.
But because Nintendo doesn't really celebrate it. But as far as Metroid as a series, it is one that I didn't get into until much later in my life, but I absolutely loved it. It just had like that. Yeah, it had that immediate appeal to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think like surprisingly enough, I know you just said we were going to talk about good games, but the game that I think sort of got me into Metroid was Other M.
Oh no! Oh no!
I saw that game because it looked cool. Like when they first showed the trailers and everything, it really did look cool. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have very much experience with Metroid at the time, but I saw her like flipping around monsters and like shooting them in the head and stuff. I was like, this looks nice. And I started playing much more of the series from there, and I loved like all the 2D ones. So and that influenced like a whole genre within itself, mm-hmm. like Metroidvania, like that. I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be celebrated, but Nintendo needs to.
I think you talked in like a very good point that like even though Metroid I believe it's 25 or 35 years of Metroid. I'm pretty sure it's 35. But
I think it's 35.
But it's 35.
For that and Zelda.
It's supposed it's the 35 year anniversaries for both those franchises. But I really do feel Zelda is gonna be on the throne. On the throne. Like Nintendo's gonna put so much into like Zelda because we've had Breath of the Wild 2 on the horizon for some time. They've already been hit. I think they've already kind of hinted at like, this anniversary. Seeing how they did in the anniversary for Mario, even though Zelda's not as, or rather I'd say, it's not as like big as Mario. It's still big. It's still huge, but it's not as big as Mario. I think that they're gonna put a lot of love into that one. But you said a very smart thing that like Metroid, even if it's their 35th anniversary for those games, I don't feel like there's gonna be that like love being put into that.
Well, you already said why, and it's because it has the very unfortunate side effect of being like the same year in anniversary as Zelda. Mm-hmm. So it's like Zelda is, I'm not going to say it's more it is more marketable. It's like more people have played Zelda and experienced it than, let's say Metroid. And so, everybody's probably going to be super excited about Zelda, and then there's going to be this select crowd in the corner like who care about Metroid, but there's not going to be nearly as many. And Nintendo is going to focus on that Zelda crowd because that's who they can make the money off of.
This is true.
I mean, it's not entirely like Metroid's fault. You know what I mean? You can say the same thing about Kid Icarus. You can say the same thing about Kid Icarus's like Stardom 2, because Kid Icarus and Metroid both came out at the same time. Mm-hmm. The reason why Kid Icarus wasn't as popular, even though the game was kind of meh, the games weren't that popular because Metroid just overshadowed it during that time period. So a lot of people were just like, it's just like just a bunch of overshadowing. You have other games that were produced by Nintendo that just hog the spotlight unironically, and it's not their fault.
But now it's different, especially with Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus Uprising, I feel like that is probably one of my favorite Nintendo games now. Like the amount, I love that game. I could go on and on about Kid Icarus Uprising.
man.
They need to remake that game and put it on the Switch,
Yes, I agree.
and then make a second one. But if you discount the of Myths and Monsters, which was Game Boy exclusive, and it was only, I think it only came out here. So technically, in like, there's only 2 canon Kid Icarus games. So like, yeah, kind of course, it's not going to be celebrated as much as like some of the other franchises because there's 2 games. Like Metroid at least has more than 2, but it's still going to be overshadowed by Zelda by a long shot.
Mhm.
I would be honestly very surprised if they did something for Zelda or Metroid Anniversary, but we'll see.
I definitely, I definitely really, I'm really mostly looking forward to the anniversary they do for Zelda and the anniversary they do for Sonic. But I think that we're gonna see what kind of like, you know what? Let me step back a bit. I like anniversaries. I love that they bring them to the forefront because, you know, let's celebrate these games. These games have been out. These games are pioneers to the genres, or they were at the forefront of like the beginning of gaming and stuff like that, or where gaming was getting big. But part of me also feels that like it's the opportunity to just, it's the anniversary. Let's get this bread. Let's get this money, baby. I can already smell the millions, and I don't know. I definitely just feel that even though anniversaries are nice and I love being able for them, you know, showing some love to these games, I don't want the anniversary of like a Zelda to be, hey, we're gonna charge $60 for all these Zelda games, and I'll buy them. I'll buy them. You can't stop me. I'll buy them, but it won't feel good. It won't feel good. Mm-hmm. And like, but then the funny thing is, like, you should say that they won't do that for Sonic. They won't do that for Sonic, which I actually think they would. They would do that, and I think Sega would do a much better job. If they did an anniversary for Sonic, I think they do a very good job of like really celebrating the franchise. Don't shake your head like that to me. Don't shake your head like that. I feel like they do a really good job at celebrating the franchise. I feel like Sonic would do something nice for the game. Maybe bring back all the classic old classic games.
They've done that ad nauseum. Like
ad nauseum.
That's the thing. Yeah, like you can. Josh, how many consoles can you get Sonic 1 on?
All of them.
Exactly. Josh, how many consoles can you get Sonic 2 on?
Most of
all
them.
of them. Probably most of them. Not so much Sonic 3, but those games are heavily accessible. Mm-hmm. And there are Sonic collections everywhere. I still feel like the best one was Sonic Mega Collection.
The Sonic Mega Collection was
I don't feel like
for the PS2.
Nothing could beat Sonic Mega Collection as far as Sonic Gems Collection.
Yeah, when it comes to a anniversary collection, like say for instance Kirby's 25th or 30th anniversary games, or like the Legend of Zelda Mega Collection or whatever, Sonic Mega Collection did something so right that every other Mega Collection or anniversary game title should do. Not only does it have all the classic title games or anything else that like has to do with the mascot, but also introduces other games that were kind of popular during that time period. And you know, you got Raystar, you got Beam Machine, you got Blue Spear, which is a prototype that actually just decided to put in the game. Not only that, but they also decided to put more content into the game aside from the game itself. Illustrate books, illustrations, comic books, other forms of media, all the commercials, the next Sonic game that was coming out. It was a time. It was a time where just like Sega was just like putting all the chips into all the media during that time period. and it was a fantastic idea. I don't know why other video game companies don't do that. Well, I mean, now I know why, because they want you to buy the book, the big book that they're selling at Books A Million.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's no way for you to get Sonic comics anymore from Archie. Like, period.
Actually, I have a reasoning for that, especially because of the time period that it came out. I think I got that game, or it came out in 2002, and I'm pretty sure it was 2002 or 2003. I just know it was right after they discontinued the Dreamcast, so it would make sense.
2003.
Yeah, it would make sense for them to do something like that, because you're introducing Sonic to an all new generation of people who have never experienced him before.
True.
Like, if you grew up with Nintendo all your life and you never played a Sonic game, and now you finally have the chance to, you could buy that game and suddenly you know almost everything there is to know about that character. Not only just by playing the games, but you see all the comic, like, like you said, the comic covers. And then, they even had like Sonic CD wasn't even in the game, but you could watch the ending and the opening. And I used to watch that stuff religiously. I'd watch that like every day.
Exactly.
I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
It's dope. It's dope.
But there was so much to consume because they wanted you to know who the character was at that point in time. And so really, they just from that game alone, they probably could have made a bunch of like more Sonic fans. And then, of course, they re-released Sonic Adventure 2 first, and so a bunch of people also probably bought that. So at that point, a collection having that much stuff in it makes sense. And I think a lot of people disregard that. I mean, it was a great collection. That doesn't take away from it at all. But I think that's
Gems Collection did the same thing too. You had a bunch of illustrations. Yeah. You had a bunch of different things that was going for. I mean, like, it wasn't just literally just the games and stuff like that. Gems Collection also introduced a bunch of other stuff too. So like, it was a fantastic. It was a good collection. Same thing with like the Legend of Zelda. No, well, I mean, I am a criminal, but still. But like, it introduced so many cool things, and then like, you got other anniversary titles that realistically came out around the same time. Like, let's just say, for instance, the Legend of Zelda Mega Collection. That was revolutionary by itself, even though it only had 4 games. It still had.
I got that with my GameCube. I was the first game I got on my GameCube.
GameCube?
Yes.
Okay. I never had that because I wasn't into Zelda growing up as a kid.
Oh my gosh,
it was so good.
It was Zelda 1. It was Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, and then you had a 30-minute demo of the Wind Waker, and you can either choose. I think you can either play the very beginning. Oh no! You can either the demo lets you play the Forsaken Fortress at the beginning of the game where you have no sword, or the beginning of you get to Windfall Island. You already have the sail, and you want to go to Dragon Roost, and you go to Dragon Roost. But it's only 30 minutes. So my little Choco is literally I'm playing it over and over again and trying to speed run it. Just trying to speed run. I'm like, okay, I gotta get here. You can't beat that. You can't beat that in 30 minutes.
No, I remember.
Impossible.
The 3 things that they had. It was like the beginning of. It was like you're on Windfall Island, and then you're at the Forsaken Fortress, and then you're at the dungeon, the first dungeon, and they plop you in the first dungeon, and you can actually get close to getting to the mini boss. I remember that as a kid. I would always try to beat that mini boss before the timer ran out.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, if they put you on Outset Island, do you have to go rescue your sister and then it's like over, or what do you do on Outset?
So no. So they only do the Forsaken
Fortress. It was Windfall, not Outset.
It was
Windfall.
Windfall is right before you go into Dragon Roost. That's when you have to find the sail. But
like all the hide and seek kids.
Yeah. But by that point, you didn't have to do the whole like finding the sail. You already have the sail. And you could just go straight there. But ultimately, like it was such a good collection. And I remember at the end of it, there was it was a video. It was a video that showcased like a video that showcased every Zelda game up to that point. So it was just like it really did feel, even though it was only 4 games, it really did feel like a celebration. It felt like a celebration of Zelda, and they did little things to make it feel like, wow, this is a really big franchise, and there's so many more directions you could go. I loved that. I have this feeling though that like for an anniversary they do like now. I don't know if it's gonna be that good or be like that. I feel like it's gonna be very cash grabby, very cash grabby. It's gonna be very similar to how the 30,
Mario.
30 the Mario anniversary felt.
Well, the thing about Mario is that I don't really. This is just me, and this is coming from me being like a massive Mario fan.
mhm.
I don't think the 30th anniversary was that good.
It's-
Like, or 35th. I'm sorry, because 3D All Stars is cool to have on the Switch, but I also already have all those games, and they didn't do enough to make them different. And then you got Mario Brothers 35, which is awesome. I do like that game, but it gets vaporized on March 31st. And then so does 3D All Stars. So you can't get either of those anymore. And so it's I get it being anniversary content, so they're just like, all right, since it's anniversary content, we have to get rid of it. But I think that's such a stupid idea.
mhm.
And then the one thing that I am looking forward to is next Friday, because then we'll get 3D World and Bowser's Fury.
Ooh, I
So
forgot
that'll-
that's next Friday.
That'll be like the one cool part of the anniversary that I am looking forward to. But as far as the other stuff, it wasn't really that great. But I do see in my chat somebody said something really funny. They said they're celebrating the Sonic anniversary by firing all the voice actors.
Oh no!
So
That's
I mean,
terrible.
and it's true, and it's making me kind of sad, like really really sad, because I don't want anybody new, because he's had the same voice for 10 years, and it's not like Roger Craig Smith was my favorite, but he was Sonic for 10 years. That was the voice I was used to hearing for
Yeah.
such a long time. And now, like, some of the other voice actors are leaving too, and I'm just like, man, this is just gonna be bad again, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
they're not gonna let him win.
Sega
when
has
you
to be
say
doing
that
crazy.
it's gonna be good, it's like,
Maybe.
I mean, the next game that it's probably gonna have a new voice cast. It's probably gonna have a new game direction. It's gonna be a lot. I don't think it's gonna be great. And you also have to understand that I'm pretty sure Sonic 06 was an anniversary game. So I don't have much faith in Sonic anniversaries.
Oh.
Just
Oh.
as far as that goes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
And they also released the worst port of Sonic 1 on that same day that Sonic 06 came out for the Game Boy Advance. So that guy's not getting anything. Yeah, he's not getting anything this year. Unless if they remake Sonic Adventure, that would redeem it for me in a sense. That would be cool. But they would have to get as many of the original voice actors as they could. Rest in peace, Dean Bristow. They can't bring him back, but that would be the only thing that would save it for me.
Well, they could. I mean, they can reuse those assets, but they can definitely reuse those assets. But like,
no, I mean a full remake.
Oh, full remake.
Not like,
yeah.
Not like Mario. Not like Mario Sunshine or anything. I mean, just like remake, not remaster, remake Sonic Adventure.
That would be a huge passion project that they would do. But like, current state of the world, and like the fact that they're done to so many people, I doubt it. But I just wanted to touch a little bit on like video game anniversaries, because I think they're kind of like there's something special about there's something so special about like celebrating these games. But I also feel like the way we in the current like gaming landscape, I feel like that same level of love will be put into them, especially after seeing how Mario's anniversary was. And I get it, that's just Nintendo. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll be what it is for every franchise, but I don't feel like franchises are going to put that much effort into the anniversary, so they want to introduce new stuff. And I just thought I'd bring it up. So, So
Mm-hmm.
we talk.
Rubbing your
Mm-hmm. I've been thinking about this because we're gonna shift right on back to the idea of the bad and stuff like that. Because like I said earlier, we talk a lot about the good in this podcast. We talk a lot about the good. We don't talk enough about the bad. So for today's deep dive question, and I'm really thinking about this one. We all have our genres. We all have our games that we love to play. We all have that. But I want to know, what is the faults of what those games that you love? Because yes, they're perfect. They're games that like you're gonna think are perfect, but like there has to be. I feel that there's always a fault, and there's always that one thing that like you can't get over. You can't get over it, and it may like kind of mess it. It may mess you up for other games as well. But I want to know. It may not be the deepest question, but I think I really want to understand, because Quanta, you're very into platformers. You're very into that genre of games. Same thing for Kendall. I'm very into JRPGs, or another genre of games that I'm waiting to talk about. But talk to me, bro. I want to know what is that one thing that like turns you off about the games that you love so much.
With platformers, its level design is number one. Like if that game has bad level design, you can't do anything with it. Like it's just the game could function flawlessly. Like Mega Man X6, that game's control is immaculate. Like the characters are so fun to control, but the level design in that game is so garbage that you can't have fun playing it no matter how fun the characters are to play. So you have to have all of these pieces in place for it to fit together. And another recent example for me was it's a new game. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called Balan Wonderworld.
I've heard of it. Yes.
It's made by I'm pretty sure it's being directed by Yuji Naka, who is he made Sonic. And so he made Sonic, Knights, Billy Hatcher, like all the big Sega stuff that you can really think of. And that game is
garbage.
Doo-doo garbage butter. It sucks. It is not good.
Bad.
It is
disgusting.
Well, for one, you see this is a controller. You see how this has 4 buttons?
Yeah.
Guess what each one of these 4 face buttons do? They all jump.
That's it?
Each and every single, yeah, they all jump. So imagine if you get a power up and you do something different that doesn't jump, you can't jump anymore. Every button is going to be that same thing. So if you fire something, you got to switch to something else. So there's a lot that can go wrong. And well, for one, that's just bad, because why would you take away jumping in a platformer? That's crazy. But yeah, or even just like play Super Mario Maker 2. You play some bad levels and you're gonna hit that skip button right away.
That's true.
So level design is definitely probably one of the most important aspects, and control, because if your character doesn't feel good to control or play, then nobody's gonna stick with the game. So people love stuff like Celeste because that character is fun to control and the game is designed well around that player's control.
Right.
So those two things sort of go hand in hand. Like you have to have a character who has like a fun, unique, I'm not going to say gimmick, but control style that functions well with the game that's designed around said thing. And so if you don't have either of those things, then it sort of just falls apart on its head and you can't really salvage that past that point. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's platformers.
What about you, Kendall? What's that fault? What's that thing that turns you off about games that you love that like you can't go back on? You like you can't go back on that. It irritates you to no end and you can't get it out of it. You gotta get it off your system. Talk to me, bro.
I think the one thing that irks me the most in general, especially nowadays, is games are trying to be a little bit more expressive when it comes to their worlds. So like let's just say for instance, let's just bring up Breath of the Wild, right? I think Breath of the Wild is a fantastic game. It's fun, it's amazing, but however though, it's one major flaw, and I think that's going to be the problem with most 3D or like open world games in general, with my opinion, is that open world games tend to be barren and empty with absolutely nothing to do in between them. I'm not expecting every nook and cranny to be filled to the brim with side quests and characters and towns, but just in Breath of the Wild, I love that game, but there's just too much barren. There's too much stuff that's barren. And if you wanted to, and even though it's not realistically, like I'm not gonna call it a Zelda game, it's open world. You know what I mean? It's a very big open world game, and you have all these, temples that are specifically put into each area. You know what I mean? For you to unlock, but that's all you do in that area. You just unlock the temple, go inside the temple, and it's a trial, and it's not enough. There's not enough human interaction. There's not enough people that you can interact with outside. The towns are very small.
What are you talking? They're all dead.
I know that they're all. I know they're all dead, but still, like it's very very barren. So, like, let's just talk about Gerudo Desert, right? Even though it's a whole ass desert, you mean to tell me that there are only 2 populated areas in that 1/4 corner of the map?
I mean, yeah.
I
Do you think a lot of people would want to be in a desert? Like, that doesn't really make much sense to me. It's hard for me to agree with you in the fact that I don't think it's necessarily barren. You just have to go out of your way to find stuff to do.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
And there's a lot to do in Breath of the Wild. I don't think it's barren. But
I mean, think it's not. I'm just think that the game is kind of barren. Like, it's not like, okay, let's compare that to Wind Waker, right? Wind Waker's my absolute favorite Zelda game. I'm gonna compare this to Wind Waker. Wind Waker, on every single block, there is something for you to do. On every block of the map, there is something for you to do. Right. Whether it is just going on an island and discovering that there's a blue tree jelly there, or there's somebody that has a side quest for you, there's always somebody or something to do on each island.
No, there's not.
There is. There's something for you.
There might be like a treasure chest hidden in one of the blocks, and that's it. It'll be water still. I mean,
it's mostly water, but there's still a track forward for each island that you go to. I think what
Breath of the Wild has, especially with Wind Waker, is that sense of discovery, and it feels more rewarding than Wind Waker does.
But
Wind Waker,
I think it's gonna feel more. Of course, it's gonna feel more. Of course, it's gonna feel more rewarding to explore on your own in this great big world. I'm just saying that. Not my issue, and the problem is that yes, we have too many people. We have not enough things to do in the overworld, quote unquote. I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm just saying that when it comes to its world building, I don't give a shit if people died or not. 100 years is a long time, I still think it's very odd that you don't run into people as often, or there's not as often many. Oh, hello, dog. As there's often many villages that you can go to. And that's just it's just overworld things. It's just overworld things. That's it.
I agree.
It's just the overworld. Overworlds is just one of the few things that just bother me about games in general. And you can obviously, change that up on your own pacing depending on how you play the game. Like, let's say for instance Minecraft, right? Like Minecraft, it's an open exploration world game that you can do whatever you want. But depending on your seed, realistically, if you're unlucky enough, you won't run into a village. You won't run into the important things that you need to do to progress in the game, quote unquote, with its quote unquote story, whatever it has.
Yeah. No, I definitely get what you're trying to say. You're not necessarily saying it's a bad thing that the game is like that. Like in the example of Breath of the Wild, the game, no matter even if it's something he dislikes, he's not saying the game is bad. He's saying that it feels barren. And by barren, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he means there's so much. Yes, there's a lot to do. There's a lot that you can go out and explore, really get to experience. Because, as you said, there's Korok seeds. There's there's all these little shrines and stuff like that. But it feels like it focuses so heavily on the open world aspect, and it takes away from the general that aspect of the game was like where that it takes away from like that life that some aspect of the game of like older Zelda games had. Or
Well,
I think that
I,
I think go ahead.
I get what he's saying, but he used Wind Waker as a comparison, and Wind Waker is like I just don't think that's a fair comparison because for one, Wind Waker has like 4 islands that have like people on it.
Population.
This is
I
also
Yeah,
know,
I
true.
mean,
whole city
it's
populations. You're
yeah,
absolutely right.
and those
But I'm
aren't
talking about
very
like,
big at all. I
no,
mean,
there aren't. I
it's
know they're not.
it's about the
Okay,
same.
I know that they're not very big. What I'm saying is, okay, Quante, compare on the scale between Wind Waker's whole entire world map and the world map in Breath of the Wild. The entire world map in Breath of the Wild, or the entire world map in Wind Waker, can fit not even 1/4 of the map in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So they had to hyper focus on what you can do on the islands, whether it just be going to a Pigbutt island and getting a treasure chest, or speaking to the old man or one of the carpentries there, or trading with the Goron. You know what I mean? Like, what I mean by barren, I don't mean that there's not enough for me to do. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? I feel like it's more so just a life thing. You know what I mean? Like plotting a bunch of monsters and stuff like that. Especially like the only times that it feels like it's alive is when there are areas in Breath of the Wild where you see the pig rocks, you know what I mean, the moblin rocks, and you see the moblins circle around a campfire and they're talking. They're just like, "Hey, you hear about Gandalf coming back? No, he never coming back. He's stupid. Fuck him." You know, it's like that's the kind of environment that I would just like that you could picture in like, you know, for other characters, just not only just like, you know, moblin bokoblins, but like, you know, actual NPCs. And sure, yeah, you do have the horse stables in the game. They're almost all over the place, and you can fast travel to all of them. But at the same time, however, when you're traveling to Snow Peak or the Gerudo Desert, not the actual Gerudo Desert, but around it with the mountain peaks around Gerudo Desert before you hit the desert, there is no civilization, no people, just maybe a handful of monsters. It seems like they were people in some certain areas. If there was, like, say, for instance, at the top, I can't remember what it was called. There was a top, there's like a big construction area, but no one was there. But then again, they flash back to that where they're just excavating and stuff like that. Maybe they could have put a couple NPCs. What I'm saying is that like it's a quality of life kind of a thing that I'm expecting. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting them to a quality of life of where it's like you walk around, you see an NPC, you keep walking, you go take the trail to Hylia Lake or whatever. You're at Hylia Lake, you see a bunch of Zoras. Hey, look, there's the Zoras, the idiots. And then you just talk to them. But instead, it feels like everyone is just put into 4 different separate parts of the map. You know what I mean? Where the Divine Beast are, and the majority of everybody else is just wandering around like merchants or, you know, just plain adventurers that really don't care. You see the same adventurers over and over again in Breath of the Wild as well. And so, like, it's just like, it just seems to me like, you know, like that's the kind of thing that bothers me and irks me about these kind of games, is that like open world games just feel like there's no actual life inside them. Like, what I mean by life, I mean like other characters that exist alongside with Link and Zelda or whoever else.
Well, I think you even said it yourself, but you use it as a comparison anyway. But I don't think it's fair to compare something like Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild, because even though they're both Zelda games, they're entirely different games.
They're entirely different games.
No, of course,
I said that at the beginning. I said like, I wouldn't say that Breath of the Wild is a Zelda game. It's just
so that was why I thought it was weird. Wait, hold on, because I'm gonna agree with you to add to your point, because I think the problem that a lot of open world games have, especially recently, is that a lot of their plots take place in dystopian futures. So everything is just wiped out. And so you have like Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata. I mean, that's probably not really considered an open world game, but it's sort of the same thing. You know, Horizon Zero Dawn, games like those where it's like it's obviously taken place in, you know, an environment where people have been wiped out by something, or, you know, civilization is having to start over, and then there's not really a lot happening in the world itself. I mean, you're just talking about just like being able to find people and talk to civilizations, but I think that's just like an oversaturation of that genre is using that same trope over and over again.
Right. I agree. I think I don't want to get too in depth in it. I think like there are some times where it's intentional, for not feel like that. I think Nier Automata is that example. Is an example of a game that does that feeling intentionally because it is a main driver of it's a main driver of its plot. But I think but for a lot of open world games in general, I think it's very easy to lose that sense of life, and because of the fact that it's in dystopian settings, stuff like that. I definitely agree with what you guys are trying to say, and I can see it from both perspectives. Oh,
well,
man.
I think that. Oh, I thought you were.
No.
I didn't know if you were gonna go or not.
No, you're good. You're good.
I do think that like the dystopian thing is the driving force for all of those games specifically, but I think it's also just hard to find a proper balance. That I think that like open world games, I could only imagine how hard they would be to design because you have to. There's just so much that you have to balance. Like you can't even really have like people didn't like the story in Breath of the Wild because it's an open world game, so you can experience the story from any point in time. And I think that's a huge problem with the genre that I see that you didn't even mention. It's like, how do you have a consistent story when, I can be anywhere at any time? How am I going to string together this sequence of events? And, I think that's a big problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Zelda doesn't do it the best. I honestly don't know any open world game that does it. I mean, you said Final Fantasy 15. That game sucks. That game doesn't have a good story either. So, I don't know.
It's definitely something that developers kind of need to find. They need to be able to find that balance, and I guess it's just because open world is kind of that genre. Open world games are the genre where like if a game was open world, it was gonna suck for a good amount of time. And I think now we've started getting to the point where like you can't just offer an open world game. Yes, I think what people more rather than just open world, because that is important. I think freedom of choice of how you want to play the game is the most important thing at this point now, where you can choose to play the open world. But if you're just somebody who's in there for the story, or you're in there for like if you're in there for that, then you should be able to do that as well. You shouldn't be limited to a linear story. You should be able to go off on your own and find your own path. I think that's what the next hurdle for a lot of these newer games needs to be. That open world one, that was good. I like that.
I actually do have one more. The game that does that the best, I wouldn't really consider it open world because it is an RPG, but it does have a big world, is Xenoblade.
I agree.
And if you want to have a world that's like super alive feeling and has a lot of stuff to do and has NPCs everywhere and stuff, just play Xenoblade. It's good. And then I'll just leave it at that.
So I've been thinking about this. This is the main question I've been wanting. I've been saving. I thought about this question for some time. It's actually something I've thought about for a long time. I wanted to get my opinion on it. And the one genre or like the games that I love that have a fault to them are competitive games. I'm gonna say mainly fighting games because that's where I have a lot of my experience from. But I've dabbled in a lot of competitive games that are like from the bat they are designed to be competitive. When I got into competitive games, I love them. It's something so new. You don't really like. You kind of just play for the fun of it. Then you have that one match, that one game where you're fighting with somebody and you finally beat them. You pop off a bit and you're just like, I think I'm hooked. And you got that group of friends and you got that group of friends you're playing with. You're just like, oh, I'm better than you. And like, no, I'm better than you. And you guys are fighting each other, and all of a sudden one comes out top. And then when your friend beats you, you're just like, I'm gonna come back better. And then you come back better. That was what happened with Smash 4. When I got into the game. When I got into Smash 4, that's what happened. I would play with my consistent group of friends. Literally, juniors in high school, bring our 3DSs, and in the morning, right before classes, we post up in the corner, bust out the 3DSs, and it's like, we got rotations. I'm trying to keep king of the hill. And sure enough, if you're on top, you're on top. I didn't like losing, so I said, you know what? Let's keep it going. And then I just got better and better. And I studied more and more of the game. Let's fast forward. Mind you, I played competitive Smash for 4 years. And while I'm kind of like over competitive Smash, I still have that itch for competitive games. I play a lot of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, a lot of Valorant lately. And while I do love the competitive rush, something that I think is the fault of competitive games is it is very hard to enjoy a lot of things that games used to offer. And it sounds weird, but it gets to a point where whenever I get a new game, I have to break down every aspect of the game. When in reality, sometimes I just want to play a game. But I have to understand it. I have to understand, this is how every frame works. This is how everything goes. There's iframes here. There's this, there's that. I gotta understand all these like little minute things, which like, yes, they make, and understanding them makes a difference, but that wasn't the focus of what I played before. Before I got into competitive games, my focus was, I'm gonna play a game, I'm gonna beat it, and I'm gonna go to the next one. And I'm gonna enjoy what it has to offer. I still enjoy what they have to offer. I still love them, but the focus goes from just fully enjoying the experience to making sure I enjoy the experience, but also making sure I optimize every aspect of the game. And like, this might be a personal thing, but I feel once you get sucked into a competitive game, it is very hard to look at games the other way. And on top of that, it's very hard to make, like, once you're sucked into a competitive game, they become time dumps. Time dumps where if you're not still playing, if you're hooked on something and you're not always playing that game, you are behind. That is literally it. I think that's, to me, the most frustrating part. I love Valorant. I like that game a lot. I've been playing it so much. But trying to get out of a rank, it's like, bro, I want to get out of this rank, and that's fine. At the end of the day, you want to rank up, you want to get better, because that's how you're quote unquote winning the game. But there's never an end to it. And all of a sudden, you realize, in order for me to get out of this rank, in order to make it to the next objective, I gotta sink all this time into the game. Earlier today, I was working and at my desk, and I like to keep some like background noise to keep me working. At my desk, I am watching. There's like a Valorant video of them teaching me how like to do XYZ thing, and I'm just like, and I really thought of it to myself. I'm just like, why do I gotta think of all this? Why don't I just play? So like going into normal games, I gotta think like that. I gotta think like that for every game I play. And I get that every game you play, you get better and better as you play it. But I have to get invested, learn every aspect. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels like this. I don't know if
I feel like that might be a you thing. That sounds like a mindset thing, because I don't really feel that way any. Like, if I'm, how you said, like the thing about frames and stuff, like I still do that, but I feel like I just do that because I want to, as opposed to like, I don't know, it being a side effect. Yeah, it's like, especially stuff like iframes, like of course I want to know that stuff because then I can abuse it, or just like,
no, of course
I can do something fun. Like I don't feel like a competitive game would drive me to feel that way specifically, but I don't know. For me, competitive games, I do agree with the time sync thing, but I think it's more accessibility
Hmm.
because you can't do something like if one of your friends has never played a fighting game before, you can't just give them a controller and then you just have them play. Like they're not going to be on the same level as you,
No
and
facts.
that kind of yeah, you gotta teach them how to play, and then who knows how long that could take, and then it's just not as fun as giving them something like I don't know, like a Mario Kart or even Smash. Like I mean, Smash, it can be learned on a deeper level, but you can just give somebody a controller in Smash, and then they can just feel like they're having just as much fun as anybody else.
Well,
So I
yeah,
think accessibility is definitely the big one when it comes to competitive games.
yes, but I feel like it's just like it can. It's very easy to like get. It's very easy to fall in the trap, and like the frame, like seeing learning all the frames. That's definitely like me. That's definitely me exaggerating because I obviously don't do that for every single game I play, but like it feels like it's always to me. It's always a constant struggle of like, okay, well, I want to play this game. How do I optimize this even further? You're gonna get better at games, but I have to optimize every game I'm playing, bro. Like, bro, I've never. I think the last like Tales of game I played before I got really invested in I really got invested into like competitive games was Tales of Exilia. I love the Tales of franchise. I love those games. Along the way, that's when then I started playing Smash. I think in 2017 that's when Tales of Berseria came out, and that game, it's a Tales game. And in my mind, I'm like, well, like the battle system in the game is very freeform. Very freeform. You can kind of chain moves into each other very well. Day one, I'm just like, how can I change XYZ move and make sure I get the most optimal damage I get from it? And that's me. And that's what I think. Like that was just a result of competitive games because before I played competitive games, I didn't think like that. I'm like, I'm gonna go into the game, I'll learn whatever it is I need to learn, but like I'm just gonna go in and enjoy my time. And like I said, it's a very specific thing. But I think after spending so much time around competitive games, I played multiple fighting games. I played Battlegrounds. I played Valorant. After playing so many different competitive games, it's something I can't get rid of. I can't get rid of. And you gotta you always want more. You always want more. You want, hey, I beat the game. Cool. Now you're just like, can I beat it faster though? And it's just it devolves into that.
So you're saying your gamer genes were awakened?
I hate you. I hate you so much.
What?
I think realistically that's a personal thing realistically because like I never really like with my thing with competitive games or like the drive to improve realistically only comes from a need within. Like beforehand, I really didn't care about being good at Smash or being good at any fighting game realistically, unless someone was talking mad shit. Like the only reason why I continued to play Smash Brothers Brawl during that time period, or even Smash 4, was to tell Quante that he was ass, or like Don, who was actually particularly okay at the game, or let's just say he was like novice, like he was like a Cyberman level, no, Raditz level. There we go. He was Raditz level. He was fucking everybody's shit up in Smash 4. And I was just like, man, I hate the fact that he's so good at the game.
Yeah, I did too.
Because he would talk shit. So then I started playing the game competitively. When I fought Don again, I was kicking his ass. And I was like, this is a really good feeling. I think I'm going to keep playing this game. And that's what, drives me to improve in general when it comes to like, a group of friends I want to be with. But when we're inside of a community base, you know what I mean? Like Smash Brothers, like the Smash community in general, for an example. Like the only reason why I'm going to continue to play instead of just dedicate all my time into commentating is because I have something to prove. I'm pissed. I have a chip on my shoulder. I want to vaporize a bunch of people before I say, all right, I'm going off into the sunset into commentary. I'm done here, you know. But that thing when you're saying about like trying to improve in games like Valorant or Dragon Ball or anything realistically, I think that's just like you want to be a certain type of level of understanding so that you don't seem like a beam dip, to other people understand the game a little bit better than you do, and that's okay. Like I felt that way about I felt that way about Overwatch actually. When I was just like playing Overwatch on the PC or playing Overwatch on console, I was like, I want to get really good at this game. I really do. I want to understand all the heroes and classes and stuff like that. I want to understand the competitive scene, so I started like dabbling into it a little bit more. It was annoying, like that constant grind to get better at something. I completely understand where you're coming from. You know what I mean? Especially when you're trying to rank up in those type of team games or anything else like that. It's annoying. And then it's like it doesn't end there, especially for like fighting games in general. You'll be playing fighting games and then you feel like you hit a breakthrough and you're beating everybody, and then all of a sudden you get to a certain stage again. You get to like, let's just say you're playing Street Fighter and you get to gold, and here comes Mr. Idiot. He just plays Ryu and all he does spam fireball, Shoryuken, and just punishes you for just stepping up and grabbing to you. And you think, wow, I'm really bad at this game. You know what I mean? Or like you get cornered into playing like, you're playing tank, right? And you're playing hog. And all of a sudden, they're just like, it seems like we need a shield. So you play a shield, and all of a sudden they counter you. And you're just like, the team's telling you to play a shield, but you want to play hog. And it's just like, wow, I'm an idiot, or my teammates are stupid. You know what I mean? It's that unracking nerve of just like you wanting to improve or become better at the game, but something happens. It's just an itch that just annoys you. You know what I mean? Like, ranking up in general is annoying. It's always going to be annoying, no matter what. Everybody's trying to become everyone wants to be better, or they're just doing it to be annoying. You know what I mean? Same thing with like competitive Smash. Like nobody likes bracket. I hate pools. Nobody likes pools, dude. Pools is frustrating and sweaty and nasty, and anything can happen. You could get paired up by Mr. Sheik Main 6 million, and you're just like, oh, Sheik, it won't be that bad. He just puts his dick on the table, and you die.
Sorry. That was funny, but I wasn't expecting you to say
that one came out of left field. I'm like, yo, what?
But you can't. But it's like, but you know what I'm talking about? It's just like it's certain things that you feel like you're prepared for. You feel like you played the game enough, but you don't, and it's just like it becomes demoralizing at times. You just get really upset, and I get where you're coming from. But like, when it comes to like whenever I'm playing a new game, or whenever it's like I'm playing Dragon Ball, right? I'm playing Dragon Ball online. I don't care, if I'm getting beat by someone that does super dash into EX garbage or does jab into super dash because it's an online thing. I don't care about that. I just want to play Dragon Ball. I don't care anymore about ranks anymore in general like that, unless I'm trying to actually get into the competitive scene for that game respectively. And like that's the kind of thing that some people that are either turned away from, or they just realize that, oh shoot, I'm just trying to become a competitive person in that scene. I mean, or you want to have a certain understanding. Like you want to have a level of certain understanding. You, AJ, want to have a certain level of understanding in the game so that it doesn't make you seem like you're an idiot. So that you like say for instance, you're smart enough to know, oh, if I play Valorant and this gun is the gun that I have to use to peek from the gun side, then I'm smart. And then everyone's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know anything about Valorant. So
I can tell, but I get where it was coming from. I get it was coming from a good place. It's coming from a good place. I get exactly what you're trying to say. No, I agree. I'm once again like I definitely think this like these are like these are all our opinions. I don't think it's representative of everybody at all. Mm-hmm. I think it's representative of a lot of the people that I know, but then again, I come from a competitive community. It's kind of crazy. It was funny to me because when Among Us came out, what turned me off about the game, which I like Among Us, but it turned me off early because the people I play with were trying to metagame it. They're trying to be so good at the game. They're trying to like dissect every little action. It's like, bro, like you're losing the fun. You're losing the point. You're just trying to vibe. The moment you start trying to like add a whole meta,
My
like
brain's
bro,
big.
bro, when people started counting how long you take to do your task, that's what I knew it was over. Oh wait, you did download. It was 4 seconds. You stayed there for 4 seconds. It should have been a 6 second download. You're an imposter. I'm like, no, bro, that's not how that works. But and then they get it wrong, and then you're just like idiot, stupid. And
I think that was just the beginning of Among Us, bro.
I
No.
didn't know. I've
thing
never
got
played
tossed
that
out.
game, so I didn't know you.
Oh no.
Yeah. 'Cause I was about to say I thought that game was just like Werewolf or something, right?
It is. Yeah,
it's-
it's a video game version of Mafia.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's video game mafia. It's video game mafia, video game werewolf, and it's super fun. And it was funny because like that would happen to the people in the competitive community, but it would also happen to like the people I play with were my friends from high school. They are not in competitive games. They are not into competitive gaming at all. But we played so often that it started getting to a point where it's just like, even if we were just trying to like, even though like it started as people get having fun and stuff like that, people be getting salty. I'll admit I was one of the people. I'll admit because it's just like, come on, nah, dog. But like I would get mad like everybody's screaming, bro. Come on, let me speak. And like, but people would start to like metagame, be like, oh, you're an imposter. I'm like, how do you know that I'm an imposter? It's like, because you slur your word in you slur like the third word in your sentence. I'm like, excuse me, like that's not like come on now, dog.
Dude, I think the major problem with Among Us in general, in my opinion, I love that game, but man, it's like it's Mafia, and like you can't really see people's facial expressions or how they interact in person when it comes to Mafia or Werewolf. So like you're going based off of speculation or just asking stupid questions and hoping that you get right, or you catch someone in the act. Like that's just basically how like that game works. Werewolf and Mafia is a game where it's a social game where you ask questions and you pay attention to people, how they react to certain questions with their body gestures, how they're sitting, if they're making eye contact, all that cool stuff. But in Among Us, hey, bro, he stupid. He didn't even do anything. He's stupid. I want him to
Oh no,
dude.
Yeah,
Actually, something funny I think about this conversation specifically is that everybody has that one game that it doesn't really matter if you're competitive or not, but you just want to win. And then that's when you start doing all the little micromanagey stuff to try and, push your way up.
that's true.
One of my
Mario
friends,
Party.
yeah, I was just about to say Mario Party because one of my friends,
Oh no.
I'll do Mario Party streams ever so often, and one of my friends was just like, I never want to play Mario Party with you, and I was like, why? And he was just like, you take Mario Party way too seriously. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I just want to win. And he's just like, no, you just take it way too far. And he's right. It's like, if I play Mario Party with somebody, I want the 3 other people playing with me to absolutely suffer. I've played Mario Party with Josh, and he's had the least amount of coins. I'll get to Boo, and I'll just steal all his coins. Like somebody could be close to winning, and I'm just like, no, I hate that guy. I want him to die, and so I just steal all his coins.
I really wanted to hit you as hard as I possibly could when we were at Steven's house and we were playing Mario Party 3 or 4, whatever, and you had no. I was just like, oh, cool, Quante. He's gonna still steal from Steven. Finally, I get some breathing room. You made eye contact with me. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I drove all the way over here for you to steal my coins? My 13 coins? I was pissed.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
Ooh.
If you play Mario Party with me, I do everything in my power to make sure not only that you lose, but it's like a bad loss, and that I somehow win.
Quante is chaotic,
Yeah.
just chaotic. If
And
he's not winning and he has an objective to make you suffer, he'll do it. He doesn't care. He'll sync with you.
Yeah, I'll get good at every mini game. It doesn't matter. Like I'll figure out how to get good at the mini game somehow. Even if it's just mashing, I'll become the mashing king. I don't care. It's Mario Party. Sure, it's supposed to be fun, but I don't care. I want to win at Mario Party. It doesn't matter.
I want to win.
That's
I
more
want to see you die.
it's more important to me than anything like Smash. Who cares about Smash Brothers? It's Mario Party. Mario Party all day.
Oh my gosh, that I definitely met my fair share of people who do that in Mario Party, and like playing Mario Party with people is literally going into the jungle. I don't know what to expect. People are out from there's the rare few like me who didn't grow up with a single Mario Party that are just like, what does this button do? I'll do it. Oh, minigame. Who have to watch the tutorials for every minigame. And then there are there are the royalty, the patricians. The patricians of Mario Party, where they've been bathed in the blood of Mario Party. I think 4 was one that people said they played a lot. I remember.
In South Florida, that was because of me.
But the point is,
I fucking love Mario Party 4.
But the point is, like, I go in and I'm just like, please, one coin, just one. I want one.
Play with me or Ed. If you play with Ed, Morpheus, or me, or anybody else, realistically, that's like the Mario Party fiend, Rada 2. Don't care. Like it's a game of who can survive being double.
They make it their goal to make.
I've seen Ed so down bad, catastrophically bad. Oh my god!
Like those people.
He was so angry and sad. He was just like, "This game is garbage. I can't do anything. What is your problem?" And then Ed lands on Chance Time, and he's just like, by the way, Mario Party 4's Chance Time is complete luck based. So Ed thought he was in control of fate. He was just like, it's time. I want everything now. I don't care anymore. If I don't get everything, I'm just going to cry. He gets everything, and then he looks at Rosa. He's like, Rosa's like, oh no. Everything. I'll never forget Ed. And like, it's just like, Mario Party is just one of those games, realistically, that it's designed for fun and stuff like that, but you want to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's not even realistically about being competitive. It's more so just the fact that you just don't want to hear. You don't want to hear me be like, "Ha, idiots! You couldn't beat me, stupid child. You tried your best, but you know what? I am the Mario Party god. That's me."
Yeah, there are definitely games that'll do that to you. So it doesn't. Competitive natures can come out with anything. It doesn't matter. So I think that's an important takeaway, especially just Mario Party. Just it makes me a different person, a person that you don't want to meet. But I stopped becoming who I am when I play Mario Party.
Evil.
Yeah.
Evil.
Just everybody. It's like I'm building an evil empire with my coins and all my stars, and everybody's beneath me.
Oh my gosh, I think that's a good point. That was a very fun topic, but we're running a little bit later than normal, so I think it's a good time to cut. Thank you guys for everybody for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Whether you're on whether you're on Kendall's stream or Kawante's stream or on my stream, y'all are all great. Kawante, Loremaster95, tell them where they can find you.
Twitch.tv/Loremaster95. I do streams every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and aside from these podcast streams, and I just variety stream, do a lot of stuff. You might catch Mario Party one day, so come by for that.
Oh no, be scared. You fear for yourselves. Run away. If he says Mario Party stream, say, hey, I'll watch, I won't play. Black Guy Gamer.
You can find me at The Black Guy Gamer, twitch.tv/The Black Guy Gamer. You can also find my YouTube channel at Dr. Black Guy Gamer, where I will be soon to be finishing uploading Sonic Adventure Review. Do you remember Sonic Adventure? And also, I'm a variety streamer as well. Right now, I'm streaming Sonic Adventure 2. I stream Monday, Wednesdays, and sometimes Fridays. And then at the Deep Dark of the Nights on Saturdays, or even sometimes Wednesday, I also do RPG or platform and show. where I talk about stupid garbage.
Because you are stupid garbage.
I'll kill you.
Oh God! Look at the stare down. Look at the stare down.
I have gotten infinitely stronger. You will die. There is no tomorrow.
We can play Mario Party right now.
Oh no!
Please.
Just not 4. That one sucks.
Oh, E.
All right, and you guys can find me either on twitch.tv/ChocoTacoFGC. You can find my Twitter page at ChocoTacoFGC. If you guys want to follow the channel, want to follow everything that's the Gamers Grind podcast, we have a Twitter page, just like I said earlier, at Gamers Grind Show. There we post updates on any videos, when we're going to go live, and anything related to the Gamers Grind. And what's going to be in the works, what's in the works, which I'll be sending out very soon. I'm going to be sending out invites to the Gamers Grind Discord because I like having these conversations with Black Hat Gamer and Loremaster95. I love having these conversations every day, but I also like having conversations with people in my chat, with random people out there. So I'm making the Gamers Grind Discord a place where we can all just hang out, talk about some video games, share that passion. All in all, Gamers Grind podcast has been super fun, and I really appreciate everybody who's tuned in for the channel. So thank you again. We'll see you guys soon when the grind continues next time. Have a good night, everybody.